with you. And really, it's just between you, me, and the microphone. This is my favorite thing to do, is to talk about what it looks like to live out our faith in this crazy old chaotic mixed up world. And in my home state, we have the awesome privilege of being able to choose our elected leadership, of course, and we have a governor's primary that is really in the home stretch. It's been exciting for some time. But today I get to talk to a friend of mine who is an elected leader. We actually go way back. Eddie Andrews is in the live from the Vara Guard Suite at the iCubs before the game. Eddie, it's great to have you with us.
Likewise.
Yeah,
My pleasure.
It's been a minute since we talked, but you've been a little busy.
Well, I've seen you once or twice at the Capitol on, a couple of events, faith events, but we really haven't chatted for a long time.
I know, so this will be good. This will be really good. First of all, you are running for governor for the Republican nomination, which is coming up very quickly.
Absolutely.
Here on June 2nd. And actually, as we speak, early voting is open.
It's already started, and I have not voted yet, but I am going to vote.
I'm sorry, I had to.
I think my whole family is voting for me. I'm pretty sure of that.
Well, you're the toughest audience to win over.
And I jokingly said we were in on Kentucky Derby Day. There was a little straw poll in Waterloo, and we won that straw poll by 3-1. It was like unheard of, and I jokingly said, "Man, I can't even win 3-1 in my own house." And
I know what that's like.
yeah, but we have our families all behind us.
Well, you do have an amazing family, and I want to point that out just because it's really good to get that personal side of candidates. If they see you on the campaign trail, usually they're talking about questions and issues and politics, which we'll get into, God willing and time allowing. But I have to say, so if our viewers are watching on screen, and if our cameraman would be so kind, we've got an awesome picture that shows your family of origin. Yes, and
that is cool.
It was so fun, and I love this picture so much. I'm like, look at what a good looking crew. It's a great family.
My dad's good looking. My mom's good looking. So I mean,
all the kids. It was just statistically likely.
The funny thing is that almost no one guessed who I was.
Well, that's the question. Is you were asking. So how many siblings did you have? I'm counting.
Well, I'm number 7.
7. Okay. So then knowing
most
that,
people thought it was these guys in the middle.
Which one is Eddie Andrews? Make your guesses now in the comments. Before we reveal in 3, 2, 1. You are baby face right over there.
I'm sitting on mom's lap, yes.
Still wearing red, which is your color.
Well, look at that. I didn't even think about that. Yeah.
I love that picture. I love the family. And I know family plays such an important role to you, so it totally made sense.
I learned about faith. I learned about, my dad. We're not the only family that did this, but boy, did we learn the scriptures. If you're in certain organizations, you have things like Bible Bowl or Bible quizzing or the equivalents. Well, we didn't need that because we had my dad. And so at the end of grace, we could not take a bite until everyone had learned their weekly scripture.
Nice.
Well, think about that. I mean, if by the time David had his scripture, Greg had his scripture, and all my other siblings had their scripture, well, we'd accidentally learn all their scriptures over the course of a week. And so by the time we got done with the whole year, man, we had almost gone through the whole Bible.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, and then
also, you go through it fast and before the food's cold. So
hey, yes.
He knows incentive. That was very smart.
Yes, absolutely.
And of course, you have a wonderful family now. Many years later, you continue that tradition, I assume.
We do.
And let's talk a little bit about the role that faith plays with you, because I know how important that is to you as well and in your family.
Faith is everything. I mean, it's not something we carry with us. It is something who we are. Which is in us. It's innate. It's a part of my being. It's part of who I am. And so it's not something. It's not like a separate slot where I guess now I will pick up my faith card.
Right. Yeah.
But in the legislature now, and I'm still serving. I'm in my last part of my 6th year, and it goes into our legislation. I won't. Well, maybe I will. When we first came in 6 years ago, there were several of us who were very faith-based. We felt 100% led to do this, 100% God-led to do this. And I will let some of the others speak for themselves. But we had stopped a few pieces of legislation that we thought were not right. And we got the nickname. It was kind of a pejorative. It's like, oh, we can't do this because the God Squad over there, they're not going to go with it, and they're going to stop this legislation, which was, we're like, did they mean that in the bad way? Let's get T-shirts.
Right. I would own that 100%.
Yeah.
God Squad.
Yeah, and
Absolutely.
and I will also say two things on that. I have a few things on my desk that remind me of how to vote. Like, I know this sounds really oversimplified, but we had a record number of bills this past legislative session, and sometimes you get frustrated, and you know you've got a busy day. You just got done talking to someone 3 seconds before the vote. It's like, oh yeah, that's right. This is this bill, and so as a calming spot, I have this saying that. Is it a moral issue, meaning of faith? What does God's word have anything to say about this topic?
Right.
Then the Constitution, and on and on and on, and so that's always the top. Is it a God, faith, moral issue?
Mm-hmm. Then that it kind of answers.
Yeah, then we already know the answer to that one. And the same thing that I will take into the governor's mansion and the governor's office at the Capitol. As your next governor, we will certainly be guided by this similar principle.
Yeah. I love this picture, by the way. So for our viewers, you can see. So this is you, faith in action. Are you baptizing a brother here?
Yes, ma'am.
Excellent. Yeah. So very
I
cool.
Baptized 3 yesterday. Now,
what?
I don't know where
That's
that picture came
awesome.
from. That's been a little while ago, but 3, a family, a mom and a daughter and a son.
That's wonderful.
All day yesterday, where the dad was looking on, taking pictures, and very proud.
You know, I know you're busy. You got the campaign and the whole like state leadership thing on your shoulders.
2 full-time jobs.
That's way more important,
Yeah,
right?
it
These
really
are matters
is.
of eternity. So I love that. That's so awesome.
And one of my favorites, which we didn't show, was I baptized my assistant at my clerk.
Yeah.
At the Capitol,
That's so
yeah.
cool. Did that happen what session?
It
was
happened
that?
last year.
Oh, I'm so excited.
And
See, that's
before I could even
awesome.
post the picture, she's like putting it all over.
Excited.
And, yeah, she's amazing.
That's so cool. See, God is at work no matter what. And they say nothing good happens up at the Capitol.
I've got stories.
Well, and you're a great storyteller, by the way, which people might not know. I just wanted to make sure that everyone knows in the whole state. People know that you're a leader. They know that you're a legislator. They know that you've got strong stances on issues. They might not know that you are a gifted musician and singer also. You've got an excellent singing voice.
I've been told that once or twice, yeah.
And you've been up at the Capitol and you've been sharing your many talents
Right.
with us. So I just feel like I need to, make sure everyone knows.
And we've had services down there. We just had National Day of Prayer service. Now, prior to me running for governor, the previous ones Representative Brooke Bowden and myself have joined the praise team, and it's been amazing honor. And people are like, "Well, isn't that a representative or a person in government?" I'm like, "Yeah, but we're people of faith first and foremost, right?" And obviously, it would look more like an endorsement if I were still on there, and so they didn't do that. But I will say, one of the services we had, someone that I won't say their name, but called me just before this service. I believe it was a Sunday evening service, well after hours, obviously, and we were just going to have service at the Capitol steps. I thought there were going to be 30 or 40 people there, and someone called and said, "Eddie, should I bring a tank?" I'm like, "A tank? Like, what kind of tank?" "Oh, baptismal tank, like to the Capitol."
Yes.
And I said, "Yeah, why not?" And I guarantee you, about 40 people got baptized that day. There were 300 or 400 people showed up to that event.
Hallelujah, that's incredible.
It was amazing and like completely well, for me, maybe someone else expected it, but I didn't expect that many to show up. And I will say this, even though the blood of Jesus washes us clean, you probably wanted to be the first 2 or 3 people in that water, not the 37th, because if you ever hear of the River Jordan, because by the time,
7 times
yeah,
in.
people didn't come expecting that, all of them, and they came in their jeans and sweats.
Oh, it's fine. It's fine.
It was good.
Cleansing flood, just like all over the place. I'm going to trust God on that one. Oh, I'm so excited.
Yeah.
That's like the best thing. I didn't even know that. So
Yeah.
thank you for sharing. Oh, so many exciting things. I know you're traveling all over the place, which is double duty. So you're a legislator up until this last session, which went into overtime. So you're thinking and debating
Yes.
and pushing for all sorts of different legislative priorities. And even now, we're still getting new bills that are being signed. I think the governor just signed
I was there today.
bill on the restricting access to abortion pills. I say abortion poisons because that's kind of what this
That's
is.
what it is.
But yeah, if you want to talk a little bit about some of the accomplishments in on your
Sure.
legislative record too.
And she also signed a bill today that was a parental rights bill, meaning that you needed if a child was going to get the HPV vaccine. Or Hep B, that needed parental consent.
Yes.
Now, I ran that bill in committee and subcommittee for the last year. Unfortunately, they assigned that to someone else literally the day before. That would have been my last bill to manage on the House floor, but Austin Harris did a great job, and Representative Shipley really, did a ridiculously outstanding job on that
Shout out
that
to
bill.
Jeff. We know him.
Oh man,
Yeah.
great people, and that was one. We obviously did a lot on property taxes. That was one of the top issues that we were going to work on. We didn't do anything on eminent domain, unfortunately. Now,
Yeah, that's
that
a huge issue.
will be literally the first day we're going to have a working session when I'm governor, because that has to be solved. It's just mind-boggling that it's not.
Yeah, well, and it's such a home, it hits so close to home, especially for people who their livelihood depends on the land. And they have, grandparents and great-grandparents, like they have this legacy that's
Century
tied
farms.
to that land. Absolutely. And they're disappearing, unfortunately. And that's something that I think really over the last couple of legislative sessions, this has been driven home, that while obviously we can talk about proper use of eminent domain and things like that, but the Constitution guarantees the right to private
Right.
property.
Right.
And so people in Iowa really need to know that the government itself is going to respect those boundaries.
Yes. And just to be clear, there are a lot of people who have no idea what we're talking about, but just imagine someone saying, hey, I got this great, wonderful bill. It's going to make wonderful things happen, and rainbows and cherries and unicorns, or all this stuff. It's going to be wonderful. The economy's going to go great. I just need your land to do it. So if you just sign this over to me, so I can lease this. Oh, you don't want to sell? Don't worry. We'll just get the state to help us take your land against your will. And that, to me, is effectively what we're going up against. And even if you like the idea of what they're trying to do, which I don't, but even if you did love that and you thought this is going to raise corn prices and all those kinds of things, the Constitution still gets in the way of eminent domain use for non-public utility and things that are against the common uses of it. It's just frustrating that we actually even have to pass a bill. Now, just to be clear, the House did our part, and we sent over a bill within the first 2 weeks of session, but unfortunately never made it out of the Senate.
Well, and
Yeah.
the fact that it is a constitutional freedom, I would consider it one of the foundational freedoms. I mean, it's what our founders fought for. Life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness is largely equated to private
Wait.
property.
Oh man, I can't say this. I can't say it how I want to, but I will say
What are you going to say?
I was just going to quote someone who quoted that.
Okay.
Life, liberty, and you know the thing.
Yes.
Okay, I will say that. Won't
I
say.
know what you mean. Exactly.
But the next sentence, and I'm glad you quoted that, the next sentence refers to government's job is to protect. We didn't give the right, but it's our job to protect your rights for that property.
Yeah, well, and that's something that I think points to a fundamental confusion, and I think this has been intentional confusion among maybe our generation and the next, where instead of talking about independence and individual rights, which of course we know comes from God in the
Right.
first place, as outlined by and recognized by our Declaration, and then later our Constitution incorporates, builds
Yes.
on that foundation. So it's very much a part of who we are as Americans. Our rights come from God, not government.
Right.
Our rights go to the individual, and then the government's job is actually to protect.
Yes.
Not to define those rights.
I'm glad you said it that way, because I've argued and debated and reminded people that those are individual rights. If you look at the Bill of Rights, how many of those are individual rights? Like even the freedom of religion, freedom of the press. Some people say, well, that's kind of, it could be the organization, but if you get down to it, it's actually that person within that organization.
Right.
It's right to say what they need to say.
Yeah, and the individual conscience responding
Yes.
to God. The individual can redress government and to be able to petition
Yes.
and to be able to have that say in representation. I mean, it depends, or so much of it depends on the foundation of that worldview. If you don't understand that, and I think many voters today sadly do not, and many
Right.
kids, as they're becoming adults, becoming of voting age, they've been taught a much different view. And actually we hear people like Zoran Mondani, a rising star
Oh,
on
my.
the left, and I actually heard him take Reagan's famous quote. If you remember, the 9 most terrifying words in the English language, Ronald Reagan famously said, are, "I'm from the government and I'm here to help." Reagan said that was horrifying because that goes against, not only are they going to, probably muck it up, but because government's track record of doing things well and frugally. But
Yeah.
I think that's a much different view, and someone like Mamdani comes along and openly says, actually, we need socialism. We need the government to be able to make sure that you can afford your food and your rent, and that's actually a more terrifying world
Yeah.
for him when individuals, when they don't have what they need. He believes it is the government's role to come in and solve all your problems for you. And so I would just love to hear
Yes.
your thoughts on how to educate and how to reach out with these conservative principles of independence and individual rights and liberties. And when there's a whole new generation saying, actually, I want the government to fix my problems for me.
Right.
And so they don't understand why that would be a bad thing.
Boy, I don't know where to start on this because I literally at the Capitol today met with a person who identified as a Democrat socialist.
Okay.
And I said, I just want you to explain to me what one position is that we disagree and tell me why. And we, it was just fascinating. And it got down to, ultimately, they believe that the government's job, it's the government's job to effectively be our nanny, to be our dad, to be our mom. They didn't quite say it that way, but that's effectively what they were saying. They want the government to do everything. And I said, well, there's a reason we at least philosophically differ, because I want limited government. Government, the government is created by the people, not, it doesn't control our lives. We should be able to control the government. And so I would say, we were talking a little bit before the air, before we got on, and I was talking about this group of students in my hometown of Johnston, and they were so, I don't know how else to say it other than just like uber left social justice warriors by the time they're like 12, 13, 14, freshmen in schools. It's like, wow. And so I started meeting with a lot of them with their parents handy, of course. We'd go to Hy-Vee and just talk about principles of freedom and the First Amendment and things that you and I just take for granted. I mean, we've known these all our lives. It's like we're talking another language, and we would have conversations for 30 and 40 minutes, and it's just fascinating because they're just repeating what they've been taught, and so we're just exploring and taking questions and comments and accusations and like, well, you this and that and the other, and we're like, okay, well, let's examine this. Let's talk about this. And so I will say that we've had a really good track record of working with some of these students, and over the course of 2 or 3 years, they're like some of the most conservative people that you would ever meet. And it's just because they understand what really freedom is, why we have open debate, why we have, the cancel culture isn't always the best answer if you disagree with a conservative person, right?
Seems like it goes one way.
Yeah.
But I agree. I think that having more open discussions, debates, I think of Charlie Kirk and his
Yes.
legacy. That's why that was so effective, is because many people had just written off high school and colleges as this sort of bastion of leftist ideologue. idealism. And Charlie said, no, we're not going to do that. And many other people as well have taken up that mantle. And I believe that it is loving. I believe that it is that it recognizes dignity to talk to that person on the other side of the aisle and say, well, why do you think this? And listen, and here's why I think so differently. And that's how we can come to any sort of agreement. That's how we can to build a country together, because a lot of people are very concerned that we can't, the more polarized that we get.
Well, and I can tell you this. Now, I come from this as also a conservative Republican. And first of all, I didn't realize the similarities. And by no means am I anywhere halfway, triply, a tenth of what Charlie Kirk was. But we did something very similar where we would just have open debates. We would have open discussions. Hey, guys, here's some lemon bars, free lemonade. Everybody come stump the legislator.
That's the best part.
And I would say, if you agree with me at the end of this more than I agree with you, then no contract written, but you should, if you're sincere, you should consider voting for me. And this went on, and we've subsequently added more Republican voters than any other district in Iowa. And we we converted a Democrat county chair to vote for me. The primary hasn't come up, but she did say that. She took 2 yard signs, and we had. I've got tons of stories of where people who either hated my guts. This one young lady, I don't know if we have time for this story, but quickly, this young lady was 17, and we were getting gender identity out of the Iowa Code and protecting girls' sports, which to our audience seems like, well, yeah.
Protect women and women's spaces.
How is this not hard?
Yeah.
And you'd be, by the way, surprised how hard that was getting Republicans to vote for that. And so, she thought I was this phobe and that phobe and this whatever. And so I got her mom involved. Long story short, she's a minor. And she said, well, I'm 17. I'm going to register to vote on this day. I will not be voting for you. Here's why. And brought him down to the Capitol. And long story short, 3 hours later, her mom is like, I can't believe I'm agreeing with the Republican on this. And that's, I'm not saying she's ever going to pick up a red hat or anything like that, but that's how you win people, by having these conversations and like, wow, I can't believe this. Like, wow, this actually makes sense.
Yeah. Well, and I think that sometimes those partisan labels stop us from having those broader conversations.
Did you know? Did you know? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Go ahead.
But did you know that at the end of this session, the Sergeant of Arms reminded us that I am the most visited legislator at the Capitol.
Oh, that's cool.
In the House. And I said, well, who's number 2? And he said, doesn't matter because it's by a factor of 2. And it is really, it really is that way, because people do want to come and talk to somebody that they know is going to listen, that can actually do something about it. And it's not worried about getting the credit. Like, let's put some resources together. Let's file a bill, or do the right thing, whatever that is.
It's amazing what you can do when you don't care about who gets the credit.
Ronald Reagan quote. Yeah.
We're 2 for 2 already. Oh, I know. We could talk for like 78 hours, but I know you have to throw out a first pitch at a baseball game here before too very long. So, I would love to get your feelings on where we are as far as, you've been traveling all across the state. Just all the concerns that you're hearing from voters, the issues that you're hearing from voters. That's not new for you because you are used to doing those kinds of town halls and things. But is anything changing, or what are the top issues that you're hearing? Are they the same as they have been, or are there different sort of rumblings going on in the grassroots?
Well, it's always different. And I think, by the way, I might be the only person in Iowa, maybe outside of Terry Branstad, who really likes campaigning.
Oh, yeah. It takes a special type.
Because I feel like that's my gauge. What are people thinking? Because I'm not just sharing my vision. I want to hear what they're saying. And what they're saying is always different. That's why I like the House better than the Senate, because you never lose that. I would say education is always going to be talked about. And my biggest education piece is getting Iowa education back to number 1. It frustrates me to no end that when we were kids, Iowa led the nation, not just near the top. I can tell you stories of me spending my summers in Ohio with my grandparents, and all the kids that we knew from Ohio, they thought we were the smartest kids in the world. Maybe we were. No, probably not. But but it was just because we were from Iowa, and everyone
there's a
back
great
then
reputation.
knew corn, hogs, soybeans, and education, right? And now we kind of lost that since the 90s. We started giving up that model. So back to number one, education. People love that. Property taxes, property rights, meaning the no eminent domain for private gain that we talked about already. And by the way, I must say I was the first guy who's in this race. That I've been fighting that for 5 years and have been to 60 events supporting farmers and landowners, and actually joined the lawsuit against the Iowa Utilities Commission for overstepping their boundaries. And so all of those, you know that I have mental health and autism as part of my platform at all times. But what's different? All of those things are important, but obviously clean water and our high cancer rate comes up more and more and more. And there's probably 3 or 4 of us who've really been working on that in the legislature. And as governor, we will just step that up 100-fold.
Yeah, well, and I know it's a really interesting environment to be in because you have to do essentially a dual focus. You've got
Yes.
you're thinking ahead to the Democrat, Rob Sand, who is the presumptive nominee because he doesn't face any challengers. But then you also have to win the primary election in order to get there. So you've got your eyes long term and short term. So let's
Ooh.
talk about how that's going.
That is tricky. And it is, the real numbers are, they're the people that are leading in the Republican primary right now, those polls are the same people who are losing to Rob Sand.
Oh, interesting.
And there are 2 of us who are not yet winning in the Republican primary who are winning against Rob Sand. And I got to tell
in
you,
the general matchup.
right, in the
Okay.
general. And I got to tell you, for me, I mean, I'm just making my own case, but as a person the only person who's won in a consistently bluish district for 3 straight terms, and the only one who's, well, by definition, I've added more Republican voters than any other person. You have to be, to beat this race, in this particular race, you have to have a Republican who can, like Ronald Reagan, we've mentioned him a couple times, who can hold the banner high, who's not ashamed of their faith, who not ashamed of being conservative, but who can articulate it and simultaneously draw more people to him. You don't win 49 states with Republicans only, like Ronald Reagan did. And you don't win my district unless you've convinced a lot of people in the middle that, yeah, I like that guy. He listens to us, and yes, they may disagree with me on my most basic ones, or like life. That's not going to change. I'm pro-life, from womb to the tomb, as Rush used to say. But you have to say, you know what, we're not going to agree on that one, but here's what else we can agree on. And you start talking about that. And if you look at someone with receipts of doing that, when I was in D.C., there was a group who asked me, they said, Eddie, how do you win that district? I mean, we're talking a district that, I hope this is not offensive, but just the right numbers. I think Attorney General Byrd lost by about 13 or 14 points. Our president lost by, I don't know, 7 points, 6 or 7 points. And they're like, how do you keep increasing your margin? Oh yes, look at those shoes.
Look at the shoes.
That's
He's wearing out the shoes on the campaign trail.
we work really hard. I said I was in Union County, and I put a post about it a couple days ago. I was in Union County, and I said something about how hard I work to someone. Yeah, I'm a very hard worker. You're never going to find anybody who works harder than me, both in the campaign and without, like it was part of the script. Right to my left was a table, and this guy was sitting out there, and he says, "Oh yeah, that's true, because I'm at the Capitol. It's a trooper." And he was in plain clothes. He's just chilling on on whatever day that was. And he says, yeah, I train the troopers, the young troopers who work at the Capitol building. I always tell them, I said, if the light's on at 2 a.m. in the house, don't worry, it's just Eddie Andrews working. And that's true. And I'm there working without fanfare. They just know that, yeah, that's where I get my work done. And so when you talk about somebody who works hard, loves people, I usually have this button that just says Eddie Andrews loves Iowa. You've seen it. And it is true. I had that long before I was running for governor. I love the state. I love the people of Iowa. I love my district. I'm going to miss serving that solo. And, when people can feel that, and even if they know you're not going to vote for them, there are some people who I know aren't going to vote for me. That's okay, because I'm still going to help them. I remember one time, this young lady, it was a life issue, and I remember standing at her door, and she just yelled at me, and I cannot, and you guys I'm scared for my daughters. They won't have that option anymore, and da 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 da. And I said, well, thank you very much. And we talked for like 15 minutes. And I said, I'll be back. It's like, and it went from almost get off my lawn to I came back a little while later. And she's like, well, I'm not ready to vote for you yet, but I have been watching you, and you do a lot of good things. And this other young lady who knew her reminded her that I'd gotten her cousin off of the street, off of East 14th, and brought him into our home. And they's like, wow, I kind of like this guy. And I don't know if she particularly ever voted for me or not, but we had made a connection, made friends. And ultimately, I think of those guys sometimes when I'm making our legislative decisions, because we still want to represent them as well.
Yeah. Well, that reminds me just now of something that I've heard attributed to Billy Graham. And he said, to imitate Christ is to open the door to friendship. And to really just see one another as human beings made in the image of God, first and foremost. And that even if you think you hate me, even if you think I'm the enemy, or what you think I stand for, that makes you mad, if I can see past that and I can just be unoffendable, and I can just say, okay, well, I see the dignity in you. And I see that you matter. And you matter to God, and therefore you matter to me. So anything I can do to serve you, like that's what Jesus did for people who would rebel and hate him and ultimately reject him, no matter what. Still, he reaches out in love. Still, he's the servant of all.
Wow.
So,
boom.
Don't drop the mic.
Yes. Yeah. That was a mic drop.
I thought. Oh, well, I know, Eddie, I know the time flies, and that I just feel like there's so much more we could talk about. But I want to be sure, I know we talked about debates, and I was thinking, are there any other more debates coming up, or are we done with debates?
Oh, boy. I have a lot to say about debates, but I can't say that much because of time. But I will say it looks like we have one big TV debate left.
Okay.
I hope another one, but I was a little disturbed about the last debate. They changed the rules on the fly, like literally on the fly. And actually, one of the other candidates saw that it was unfair and actually joined me. And actually, Zach Lane, by the way, actually spoke up for me. And it was just the way they handled it, and literally changed the rules on the fly. And
Were they cutting you off, or what was happening?
Well, okay, this is going to sound like it's not really a big deal, but when you just have gone over the rules, it's a little frustrating. So in a round robin, when there's 4 people there, you would answer the first question, and then we go around, and then you would answer pointing to someone else is in the room, by the way. When you would answer the second question, then you would be the last on that one. And so then I would be rotate. Yeah. But to give every question to me first means I never get to hear their questions, their responses, and respond. And then the fourth person always gets 3 minutes of thought time before they give their questions. Okay. It's like, it would be nice to do it normally. Mm-hmm. It's like we talked about 3 seconds ago. Sure. And they changed it midway through. And I just realized, okay, that's the way it's going to be. Very simple. And but what was the most frustrating was what came after that. The fact that we raised the point. These are our news media people, the Hearst people, who owns KCI. I mean, threatened my campaign manager, and how dare you say anything, and like what? And then came and threatened our lawyer and did this. It's like, is this what we've gone to in Iowa politics, right? And I said, first of all, if you guys are going to threaten anybody, threaten me. Leave my people alone. And so all of that is what turned into something that was just kind of silly and stupid. Why would you change the rules? To like, do we need another lawyer to stop you guys from harassing us? So
That's crazy.
But having said all that, we're getting our message out. We're traveling again to all of these cities and states, and our message is resonating.
Do you think it will be decided on June 2nd? Because that's coming up, but because the race is divided, a lot of people are wondering about conventions. If no candidate gets is it 30%?
35.
35%.
If it were 30, it would definitely, that'd be hard.
Yes, that's true. Then it goes to convention after that. A lot of states have similar rules. Do you think it will be decided then?
I really don't know. I mean, we keep looking at the polls, and the polls keep changing. By the way, none of the straw polls are that you see are indicative of the entire state, right? But the internal polling is really interesting. I will say it like that.
Okay.
Really
excellent.
interesting.
Well, then we'll just take these last couple of minutes and I'll let you make that pitch to the undecided voter who's been watching this interview. They like what they hear and they want to know why they should vote for Eddie Andrews.
Well, if you're looking for what many of my colleagues refer to as the hardest, and I stopped saying that because one or two got mad when I said that. I'm like, okay, you're hardworking too. I'm just saying what my colleagues say. One of the hardest working guys at the state capitol, that's Eddie Andrews. If you're looking for the receipts of somebody who can stop the state from being Kansas. And I say Kansas, not Minnesota, not Illinois, but we have the danger of becoming a Kansas. And why I say Kansas is because we're a red state. So is Kansas. Both chambers, supermajority. But they nominated someone, good guy, but he had no appeal to the left of Ted Cruz, right? And so they ended up with a Democrat governor. And I feel like people don't understand this is not a Republican-Democrat race this time, unlike the Senate races or congressional races, which are. This is a Republican-Democrat center. And if you don't have a candidate who, like a Ronald Reagan, holds the banner high but attracts, it's going to be a long night in November. And so ask that you humbly choose Eddie Andrews by making that decision on June 2nd through the eyes of November. And we're going to have so much fun. We are going to have so much fun sharing this, hyping up the state. When I was in D.C., they asked why I wanted to be governor. I said, I wanted to be the hype man. And they said, what do you mean hype man for Iowa? Like Donald Trump he wakes up, he's part lawyer, part promoter, part salesman, part defender. For America, and that's effectively what I want to be. It is let's make the state even better. Like first in business, first in education, first in health, all of those things. I mean, we can do it. This is going to be so much fun doing it.
Well, I had so much fun.
Eddie Andrews.
Eddie, thank you so much for your time, for your courage to be able to do this, and we'll continue to pray for you and for your family on this last leg of the journey.
And can I just say this just formally, I humbly ask for your vote on June 2nd for Eddie Andrews. Thank you.
There you go. I saw it.
EddieAndrews.com.
That's the clip. Everybody remember. So hopefully this has helped to inform and educate your vote as we approach this very important election in Iowa's future. Thanks for listening here on FaithWorks Live, where we always have a threefold mission, which is to love God, to serve people, and to live free.